Hello and welcome to this personal productivity hypnosis session. To do it now. This session will help you begin to feel more ready, more willing, and more able to take useful action at the right time. Now, maybe there's been moments when you knew what needed to be done, and there's some part of you that delayed, that waited for a better mood, for that perfect moment that never quite arrived. And you might begin to discover something very freeing, that perfect moment is not found before action. It's created by action. There's a world of difference between pressure and momentum. Pressure builds when tasks are avoided, and momentum builds when you begin. And your unconscious mind can easily learn to prefer the clean, calm feeling of beginning rather than that heavy feeling of waiting until later. Now, you might be one of those people that believes that motivation arrives first. And you can come to realize that motivation is not the cause of action, it's the result of action. You start and then the mind catches up. You begin to move and then the energy appears. You take the first step and the next step becomes easier. This session will allow your deeper mind to become more responsive to those moments when something useful can be done right here, right now. Not waiting for everything to perfectly align, not trying to do everything all at once, just focusing on the next useful step. And as that becomes more natural, you'll notice yourself acting sooner, deciding faster, and feeling clearer about your goals, your motivations, and what to do next. The old pattern of waiting can fade and weaken, and a new pattern of doing can strengthen. And the more you allow yourself to fully experience this session, the more your mind can connect to immediate action with confidence, completion, and self-respect. And now, as you begin to settle in a place where you can relax undisturbed for a while, take a few moments to become comfortable and begin to notice just how good it can feel to let change begin right now. And now you can just close your eyes at your own pace. Take a deep breath in and hold it for a moment. And as you breathe out, let the muscles around your eyes begin to relax deeply. Just relaxing those eyelids so completely that as long as you choose to keep them relaxed, they just don't want to work. Smoothing out those tiny muscles around the eyes, the muscles across the forehead and down the cheeks, just relaxing ever deeper, ever calmer. And as you relax those eyelids enough that they would rather remain closed, you can test them gently and find that they stay comfortably relaxed, at peace. That's right. And now stop testing and let that relaxation flow, moving into the top of the head, down through the face, into the jaw, the neck, and the shoulders. Let that comfort flow like warm sunlight down through the arms, the elbows, and the wrists, into the hands, down into the fingertips. And every breath, you can just allow your body to soften even more deeply, becoming more relaxed with every moment. In a moment, I'll ask you to open and then close your eyes. And when you close them again, double that relaxation. You don't need to know how to double it. You can just decide that it happens and watch it happen now. Now open your eyes slightly and then close them, doubling that relaxation. And again, open the eyes and close them. Let yourself becoming twice as deep, twice as relaxed, twice as at peace. And one last time, open your eyes, close them, and let your whole body sink even deeper into comfort, floating or settling, exactly as it chooses. And as your body relaxes even deeper, you can just bring your attention to your mind. In a moment, I'll count down from 5 to 1. And with each number, you can just allow your thoughts to grow quieter, less important. You can notice them just floating further away. 5, drifting inwards. 4, everything slowing down. 3, more peaceful, more focused. 2, letting go. And 1, deeply relaxed. And those thoughts that might appear simply pass through, like clouds crossing a summer sky, while another part of you listens, learns, and begins to change. And as you rest here, relaxing deeply, listening to my voice, you can imagine yourself standing at the top of a staircase. This staircase leads down into the quiet workshop of your mind, a place where old habits can be adjusted, repaired, and improved. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can simply sense it, but you know it's there, waiting just for you. And as you step down that that staircase in your mind. With each step down, your body relaxes more deeply, and your mind can become more open to useful change. 10. Stepping down and leaving the surface behind. 9. Drifting deeper into a calm focus. 8. As your shoulders soften, your jaw becomes loose and your breath becomes easy. 7. Every muscle relearning stillness, being at peace. 6. Deeper now. It's as if the very air itself is helping you to relax. 5. You're halfway down now, feeling twice as calm, twice as relaxed. 4. You may notice the quiet strength gathering within. 3. The old noise of delay fading into the distance. 2. Entering that deeper workshop of change. And 1. All the way down. And now you find yourself in a place that feels calm, orderly and powerful. Maybe there's a large wooden table, a clear desk, shelves of tools and a warm light overhead. Everything here has a purpose. Everything here is ready. You might just notice straight away, or maybe in a moment, that on the table there's a small object that represents action. Perhaps a key, a seed, or simply a button marked now. And as you notice it now, you may begin to feel a subtle readiness growing in your body, a clarity and a focus, like the first breath of the morning, or standing at the starting line, knowing that the first step is so simple. In this place, effort becomes organized, your energy becomes directed, and each breath deepens the connection between calm and action. And the deeper you relax, the more easily your unconscious mind can learn that action is relief, beginning is freedom, and doing it now feels so good. And now in this deep, calm place within, your unconscious mind can begin sorting through the old pattern of delay in a new way. You know, there's been times in the past when a task appeared and some old part of your mind said, later. Not because you were lazy, not because you lacked ability. Simply the mind had confused waiting with comfort. And that old confusion can begin to clear now. Because you know, waiting isn't comfort when it creates weight. Waiting is not rest when it keeps the task alive in the background. Waiting is not freedom when there's a part of the mind that keeps checking, keeps remembering, keeps reminding. And from this moment forwards, your mind can begin to recognize the truth that starting creates relief. And you know you don't need to do everything immediately. That's not the point. When something matters and the next step is available, you can do the next step right now. And it's easy to understand that even the smallest of starts counts. That a rough, imperfect start counts. That a 2-minute beginning counts. One action begins the chain. And your unconscious mind can easily connect the phrase, do it now, with that calm internal movement forwards, without panic, without pressure, without strain, just movement. And you may notice now or in the future that when a useful task comes to mind, there's a tiny opening, a small space before the old excuses start. And in that space, you act. You act before the resistance has time to rehearse itself, before doubt organizes a meeting, before delay puts on a convincing show. Do it now. And as you hear those words deep inside, they become less of a command from outside and more of your own intelligent inner direction. A steady, reliable voice within that knows just how good completion feels. Perhaps you can imagine 2 versions of yourself. There's a version that waits. That version thinks about the task, circles the task, negotiates with the task, feels the task becoming larger with every delay. Notice how much energy that version consumes. Now imagine the other version of yourself. This version begins, not dramatically, not perfectly. They simply begin. See this version take the next obvious action and watch as something changes immediately. The body feels lighter, the mind becomes clearer, the future becomes easier. This version has learned through experience that action is giving a kindness to your future self. Now drift into that second version. Become the one who begins. Feel the change in your posture. Feel the change in your breath. Your eyes become clearer, the hands become ready. This is you when action is natural. Can you imagine standing by an unlit fireplace, holding wood in your hand, saying, "Give me heat, then I'll give you the wood"? You know that's not how fire works. First the wood goes in, then the flame grows, then the heat comes. First the action, then the motivation. First the beginning, then the energy. And you know that it's easy to stop waiting to feel ready before you begin, and to start feeling ready because you've already begun. Now, there may be a task in your life, something useful, something you've been postponing. You don't need to force it. Just let your mind identify one thing, something specific. And just let your mind reduce it to the first step. A small, simple, easy, very visible action. And as you imagine doing that first step, feel the relief that follows. See yourself beginning, moving. See yourself realizing that the task isn't a monster delay made it seem. It's just a sequence of steps, and those steps are made to be taken. And just imagine tomorrow or later today, a moment when you might once have delayed. You notice the task and hear that old suggestion of later, faintly like an old radio in another room. And then a stronger, clearer part of you says, "Do it now." And you begin. And you can just watch yourself doing it. Maybe you take a breath and start. Maybe your hand reaches before your mind finishes arguing. Just maybe your feet move you towards the thing. However it happens, and you begin. And each time that happens, each time you begin, you train your mind. Each time you act sooner, the old delay weakens. And each time you complete even the small, useful action, that new pattern strengthens. And you know deep within you're becoming the kind of person who starts quickly, who handles things while they're small, who trusts action more than overthinking. And maybe if a task feels too large, you make it smaller. If it feels unclear, then you define the next step. And if it feels boring, you begin anyway and let momentum bring energy. Do it now. Let that phrase settle into the muscles, into the hands and into the feet. Feel it settling in to your chest, your eyes, the part of the mind that chooses. And now just imagine a future week in your life. You wake with more clarity. You move into the day with less negotiation. You begin important things earlier. And you feel proud in a quiet, steady way because you keep proving to yourself that you can rely on yourself. And that's such a wonderful feeling to be able to rely on yourself. And the more you do it now, the more self-respect grows. And the more self-respect grows, the easier it becomes to do it now. A positive loop, a strengthening circle, a natural rhythm. And as you imagine yourself living this way, notice the expression on your face, the steadiness in your body, how much simpler life becomes when you stop carrying around what can be handled. And just notice how good it feels to be free through action. And from this moment forwards, the words, "Do it now," awaken a calm momentum within. They focus your attention, activate your body, make starting easier than postponing. And the more often you use this, the more automatic, natural, and satisfying it becomes. And now it's time to bring this session to a close. In a few moments, you'll return to ordinary waking awareness, bringing this new pattern with you. But before you come back, imagine that small object from the workshop of the mind once more. The key, the seed, the button marked now. And imagine placing it somewhere inside, in the right place, where the unconscious mind can keep it safe and use it automatically. And when a useful action is ready to be taken, that inner symbol can quietly activate. A clean impulse, a simple movement, a feeling of yes, now. In a moment I'll count from 1 to 5. With each number you can return more fully, bringing back calm motivation, practical energy, and a refreshing sense of readiness. 1. Beginning to return, feeling the surface beneath you. 2. Bringing back every useful learning, letting it settle in your mind. 3. Breathing a little more deeply now, the energy returning to your arms and legs. Feeling as though you've rested well and reorganized something important inside. 4. Becoming clearer, more alert, more present, feeling grounded, steady and refreshed. And 5. Eyes open when you're ready, wide awake, calm, clear, and feeling good. And from this point forward, whenever you notice yourself about to postpone something useful, you can take a calm breath and hear that steady inner voice. Do it now. And as you hear it, your body can naturally make the first small movement before the old delay has time to return. And the more often this happens, the easier it becomes. Small actions create momentum. Momentum creates confidence. And confidence creates ever more action. You may be pleasantly surprised to find yourself completing things sooner, starting things faster, and enjoying the peaceful feeling that comes when your mind no longer has to carry what you've already dealt with. Thank you for joining me on this session today and giving your mind the chance to focus on immediate and useful action. Let yourself notice the small wins, because it's those small wins that become powerful change. You're learning to begin sooner, move quicker, and trust yourself more deeply. And until next time, goodbye and good mental health.